Hello, Airbnb hosts and property managers. I'm Thibault from Rental Scale Up, your go to source for short term rental news and analysis. Today, we're diving into Airbnb's Winter 2023 release and a significant change that's sparking discussions: the introduction of the guest favorite badge. Let's examine how this new badge has transformed the once premier Superhost status into a runner-up badge, eclipsed by guest favorite. If you go to the homepage of Airbnb, you can see that Airbnb is pushing really hard the guest favorite, this new badge, right? On the homepage, you can see this link, discover a guest favorite. And it's true that if you go to a listing page, for example, you will see that on a property like this, the new guest favorite badge is really prominent. You can see it really well. And the superhost status for this person called Wayan, well, superhost status is written really, really small. So as you can see, there's something happening here, right? Guest favorite is eclipsing superhost. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about what this means and why Airbnb is doing this. What Airbnb wants first is to increase competition on the platform. It wants us hosts to compete even more. Today, there are more than 7 million listings on Airbnb. And yet, Airbnb finds that a lot of guests complain that Airbnb is too expensive. So, to get us hosts to lower prices, Airbnb needs to make us compete even more, one against the other. To do that, this new guest favorite badge is a good way to get us to act. Let's talk about the basics first. The guest favorite badge is on listing level. It's all about the quality and the performance of your specific listing, whereas the Superhost badge is on account level. It's about the performance quality of all your listings. If I go quickly about, if you want to compare quickly the criteria for each, um, we can go to an article we wrote recently, actually, on Rental Scale Up, and where we detailed the differences about this. But if I take this one image we created to sum up the criteria, right? Superhost, you need a rating overall for all your listings of at least 4.8. It's, as I said, on host account, it's reviewed quarterly. You need to cancel as a host less than 1% of your bookings, and you need at least something like 10 trips or number of nights during the year. Guest favorite, the review score has to be higher. It's at least 4.9. It's on individual listing level. It's reviewed daily. Also, you need to cancel less than 1%, and things like cleaning, for example, all kind of criteria are really, really reviewed hard. And you need at least 5 positive reviews. So here it's not about the number of trips or bookings you got, but the number of reviews. You need at least 5. Um, what's interesting here? Let me go back quickly to Airbnb's website. What's also interesting here is how it looks on the website. Um, Let me show it that to you. First, as I said, Airbnb, as the launching guest favorite, they make it very prominent. But if you, for example, enter a search for a stay, let's imagine a stay in Bali, for example, and I start searching. If I look at the search results, I can see that guest favorite now is really prominent, right? This one is guest favorite. This one is guest favorite. That's a super host. That's a guest favorite. A guest favorite. This one is super host. This one Superhost, Superhost, Superhost. So you can see there's sort of a war between both. And actually, if I go into filters, maybe you want to filter things, Airbnb is letting me filter through as well what they call top tier stays, right? So they define to them what a top tier stays. It's either two things. Either it's a guest favorite, it's got a guest favorite badge, or it's Lux. Remember, it used to be Superhost. Superhost used to be there. No longer. So it seems like when you filter out, basically, you're filtering out Superhost, and all you have left is guest favorite. It is very interesting because, again, it means that you are, as a traveler, guided to filter out Superhost to leave only guest favorite. As I said as well, if you click on guest favorite, and we saw this earlier, you do get the guest favorite badge displayed under the let me show that on the property level. You do get the guest favorite badge displayed under the property name, right under, but it's big, right? You can really see it, right? These little symbols around and guest favorite, and then the thing which says one of the most loved homes on Airbnb according to guests. Whereas your Superhost status is down there. It's so small, hard to read. It's incredible. So what's happening? Let me go back to the view here of the website. So why is Airbnb doing this? What is happening here? Um, you have to understand that it means that suddenly you have 2 million guest favorite properties. Superhost was good in a way, it was on an account level, but it meant that, for example, when as a property manager with several listings, you were launching a new listing, it was great because you had for this new listing the Superhost status, which is still true, right? But of course, you will not get the guest favorite status. So it means that, for example, this guest favorite badge is harder to get than Superhost, right? There's no way that a new listing could get it. You have to respect the criteria we just talked about. Same thing here. A property, we saw the case, right? This property we just saw, they were both a guest, this one here, they were both a guest favorite and Superhost. And here in the search result, if you have the two badges, Airbnb is going to display one badge, and this one badge always going to be guest favorite. That's in their rules. We checked. They're prioritizing the guest favorite. So at some point, you can imagine that travelers will get used to look for guest favorite and not care maybe as much about the superhost status. One would have to be without the other one, right? So if you're a superhost, there's a big chance that a lot of your properties will be guest favorite, right? And yet, not all. Um, Something I want to say as well is that Superhost was is still evaluated every quarter, right? So this sort of you have a stress if you want at some point you want to see whether you're getting this badge from Airbnb, at the end of this quarter. Whereas here, it's evaluated every day. It means like um, any review you get, any maybe response time, you're a bit late, all of this is evaluated every day, and you can lose your badge for one day to another, and of course gain it for one day to another. This is so much more stressful, right? But that's how it's about increasing competition, right? So they really want it, the bar is higher. It's 4.9 on reviews, not 4.8. It's evaluated every day, so you have to. They're keeping you on your toes. So that's what you really want. Airbnb really wants to increase competition. Also, another way to make sure you capturing these reviews, you need reviews to be there. Is of course probably to lower a bit your prices. Because that's what Airbnb wants. In the end, that's more value for money for the guests. That's Airbnb's strategy, right? Have us compete on quality and prices to bring more value for the guests, so that Airbnb's image is expensive. On social media, people say Airbnb is expensive. So Airbnb wants to go away from that and have a host. Well, give that to Airbnb by competing more on value. Um, Something I want to say as well here is that what it means is that if you're a super host with a listing, um, in the end, that have this guest favorite status, we've seen that the guest favorite badge takes precedence in search results, right? So Superhost status still holds value, to be clear, right? It's still displayed on your listing page, for example. And if a property is new, for example, if you're Superhost and don't have the guest favorite badge, you're going to get this Superhost badge in search results, as we've seen, right? But still, it is second best. And probably this is going to train this prominence of guest favorite, the filter, which is about guest favorite, not Superhost anymore, that's going to train people probably to look for more guest favorite properties over Superhost. Um, so the move is clear, right? It's up upping the ante on individual listing quality and to address pricing concerns and the abundance of options. There's so many properties nowadays on Airbnb, right? They need to make it harder. It's gamification, right? It's like suddenly you're playing a video game and suddenly somebody's introducing a new level. It's hard to get there. And on top of this, you have to sort of play every day. Like every day you can lose your status. That's what they're doing. It's pretty smart. It makes sense for the platform to do that. It's again when really well designed, sort of like the way it looks, the way it's been thought of. So my advice for you again, let's make sure you focus again on your quality of your property, make it very clear. If you have a new property, you need basically very fast to hit these 5 reviews to try to qualify for this. And again, the only way to get reviews fast is to lower your prices. So it's really fitting the strategy we just talked about: more value for money for guests by getting hosts to compete one against each other. So if you like it, subscribe to our videos, stay informed on rentalsclub.com. We have a great newsletter. Subscribe for free. Every week you get news like this. I'm Thibault, and I wish you success on your hosting journey.